And welcome back, everyone, to the Rampage Rooks channel. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. And yeah, today I wanted to share with you one of the games I've played over the board, where it was actually the longest chess game I've ever played. Now, when you guys look at your games, it probably goes around 30, 40 moves. If you haven't played OTB, maybe probably your online games probably fit that description. But I'm gonna share with you my longest chess game ever played over the board in a real tournament, and it was a lot of moves. So let's get into it. To give you guys some context, this was round number 5 of the Atlantic Open tournament in 2023, and I was on. This is actually the last game of the tournament, so I was on 2.5 out of 4, so I was doing quite well. And if I win this game, I get probably like some money. But I'm playing someone that's 100 points higher than me, so I'm gonna have to take some risk, or he's gonna have to take some risk to try to beat me. He opened with d4, knight f6, knight f3, d5. So I'm 1871 at that time, and he was around 1970. These ratings obviously changed because it was 3 years ago now. He played g3, so it's kind of a move order thing. Some Catalan players like to play this move order. Obviously, the main Catalan is something like this, where they play 95 and whole mumbo jumbo of all this theory. But they played g3, e6, bishop g2, c5, and I played this e6, c5 setup to kind of challenge the middle pawn, castles, and I played knight c6. And now he was blitzing out every move, so he played c4 very quickly. I took on c4 because I was like, okay, I've seen some games where this kind of thing happens, where white has some pressure. They play like knight d2, I gambit the pawn, but he gets knight b3, bishop b6, bishop f4. They get a lot of activity, but black has isolated this pawn and has some chances also here. This is what I thought he was gonna play. I take on c4, come back to the board, and he plays knight e5. He blitzes out knight e5. So I get up to the board and I look back and he already plays moves. And I was like, what in the world is knight e5? Because if I take, because obviously I've never seen this variation before. Now I guess it's more known. Then he wants to play e3. And the point of e3 is if I move my knight, boom, 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 forkaroo. There we go. So 95, I have to takes 95. And basically what I accepted in this position was that he's gonna play 93, he's gonna win this pawn, but in that time I get the development. And he did, he played 93, and this was the kind of the position. And I was like, okay, well, position's looking pretty decent. He plays queen b3, I play queen c7, and he plays rook d1. And now I have to kind of come up with a plan, and my plan was to actually play rook b8, trying to get off this light square diagonal, and aim for b5. I played rook b8. And this is where he finally kind of started thinking. Obviously, I'm down a ton of time. I'm probably down like 30 minutes because I've never seen this kind of opening before at that time. Now I've gotten more used to it. And he played a4, which is a very committing move. He's trying to stop b5, but it relinquishes the square b4. Again, every time a pawn moves, you have to take into account what squares it left behind, right? So it left behind this b4 square, where it could have kicked out my knight if I did go to that square. And I played b6 because obviously I have to finish my development. Um, he plays knight d6. Now this is based off some tactics. If I do take the knight, he gets the thorn on position, and if I take, obviously e4, and the pin is gonna win him the game. So I can't take, and if I don't take, then I mean this position is probably really sad to play because he like walls in my pieces, and I have to go 98 and queen b5, and oh my, like imagine if you had this position, you have no chance of surviving this really. So I had to play bishop a6, trying to stop knight b5, and he played knight b5 anyway. Awesome. I have to take, and here he does something very instructive, is that he takes with the a pawn. Why would he take with the a pawn when he can take with the queen? Because my knight is under danger, and he opens the file for the a rook, and what he does something in chess which is called fixing. He fixes my pawn to this square. What do I mean by that? For example, if he took with the queen, I can build, like, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say this happened, I could build for a6 or I could go a5. Here, I can't go a6 or a5 because if I go a5, a French person would come over to my board and start speaking, uh, because he can en croissant me. So I play knight b4, and I play knight b4 because I want this outpost for my knight, and obviously he weakened that square. Queen a4, rook d8, takes. He cannot take on a7 because of back rank issues, right? So he plays bishop f4, and I kind of realized that my position is trash, and it's kind of, it's not that I didn't make enough chances. Is that he played an opening and I played a defense where I don't have many moves. Because here's the thing, I play rook d7 because I have to guard my pawn. And when was the last time you've seen a complete, like the last time you've seen a sideways battery? Like, look at this. My rook and my queen are guarding a pawn sideways. That's kind of sad. And the reality is that he plays one of the best moves that White has played like this whole game. I would say it's a very conceptual move. H4. H4. Two reasons. Number one, if you ever want to lift, because of back rank issues, as we saw with Queen A7 earlier, and also I don't have G5 anymore to try to win E5. I can't dislodge this bishop. So now my bishop is canned in with the from these pieces, and now it's kind of like I don't have many moves. I can't move this rook because a7 is unguarded. I can't move this queen. I can move this queen, which is what I did. I played queen d8. He played queen b3 because he wants to reroute. Makes sense. And here I played rook c7, rook d1, rook d7, rook c1, rook d4, bishop e3, rook d7, bishop e4. Why am I shuffling back and forth? Because I don't really have another plan. The problem with my position is that I don't. D6 is guarded, D5 is protected, D4 is the only square that's not protected, and now it is. Um, D6, D5, D4, D3, or in D2 and D1. I cannot move to a single square, and if I want to give up that file, or if I play my rook here, I am literally giving up that file for white. So, bishop e4, queen c7, which is what I play, and he plays f4. And here I was actually kind of happy to see f4, mainly because he kind of overextended his, not weakened, but he kind of overextended his king side, and he can't ever move this pawn because I will eat the other one. So I was pretty happy with my position. Move count check. It's move 26. So we got a while to go. Just telling you. I didn't tell you how many moves this is, so keep tuning. Queen d8, king g2, knight d5. And I was like, okay, I'm attacking your bishop. Bishop f2, knight b5. I legitimately do not have a plan. I cannot move this pawn, and if you guys can hear outside, the wind is blowing everything in its path. Rook a1, rook c7, and he plays queen d1 because he wants to get the control of the d file. And I said, if you want to trade, if you want to trade, James, you gotta do it on my terms. Queen d7, not queen d1, queen d7, because that way if he trades, I get the d file control. It doesn't mean much because I literally can't move there, especially since bishop b1 controls d2. But I have something worth an investment. Knight d5, b3, rook c7, king f3. And I kind of want to give you guys some time expenditure kind of things. I'm down, like, from the start I was down a lot of time, but the thing is that this was a game where both of us thought a lot in the middle game, and you're going to see that the position is going to get crazier. He plays king f3, g6. Why did I play g6? I wanted to create a lift for my king, an escape square, and he played rook c1, rook d7, bishop d3, and he wants to reroute to c4 so that he can get e4 if he needs it. King g7, bishop c4, knight b4. So I'm going to the b4 square, bishop f2, rook g2, bishop b3, rook d7. If I go rook b2, by the way, I was getting some ideas where I could play rook c2, but he just plays rook d1, and if I want to lose this game, I would play that, but I don't. And now rook d7 is incoming. I don't want to give him the d-file control, because if he does get the d-file control, guys, then I will be in, like, tremendous pressure. So rook d2, and I go back to d7, and I'm like, show your cards. Show me what you're gonna play. If you want to expand on the king side, expand on the king side. And he plays rook h1. And I'm looking at that with 8 minutes left on my clock, and this is move 40. Or actually, no, I got not 8 minutes. It was like 4 minutes. I look at my clock, and I'm like, okay, it's move 40. He played his last move. And I have to play my last move. This is move 40. And it's very, very important. We saw, if you guys follow Taught Steel, which I might make a video about, move 40 was very important in some of those games. And I was like, I think this is a mistake. You're probably asking, what changed? What changed, what changed, Rampage Rooks? Like, what changed? What changed is that my b4 knight is not restricted anymore. It doesn't only have d5 and b4. Now it has c2, and I hit the clock. This is my move 40, and now I feel that I've made some progress. Why is it so important that I go to c2? Because I can wrap around to f5. It was so important. He played bishop c1, and it was so important that I wrap around to f5 with a check, because now he can't play g4, guys. He cannot play g4. So now my knight stays on f5, and my plan is to play h5. Obviously, my pawns are on the wrong color complex than my dark squared bishop, but that's okay because I'm fixing these pawns. e3, h5. And now I feel that I've really accomplished something, because now this pawn is immobile and he cannot expand on the king side. And the wind just keeps going. If you guys can hear it, then I'm sorry. And here he takes one of the craziest decisions that I thought was insane during the game. You know how I just played e3 and tried to control d4? Yeah, nah. He played e4, and I was like, what? What? Because now you're definitely not expanding with g4. And I was like, okay, is he trying to expand with f5? I control that square as of right now, so, I mean, if anything's going to change. But I really didn't think anything was going to change, because my knight has an outpost now on d4. It didn't have an outpost on d4 before, because you could kick it out with e3. You could literally kick it out with e3. So now he played e4, and whenever you push pawns, again, just as they played a4 earlier in this game, you gotta see what left behind. What was left behind? The b4 square was weakened behind in that case, and now the d4 square is left behind in this case. Rook d1, rook d8, rook d2, rook c8, bishop a3, king f8. And I realized that after king f8, I have accomplished a true fortress. Why? Because if he ever, and I thought this was his only chance, only chance, was to play b4 and try to undermine my structure. Here's the thing. I don't have to do a single thing in my position. Go ahead, take the pawn, because I still guard the knight. Your dark squares are still protected, and actually, you give me a b8 avenue. You give me this rook b8 thing where I can actually attack your position, and if anyone's playing for chances now, it's probably black. If you don't take on d4, that is. So he plays rook a2, and yeah, I mean, he could not find a breakthrough. Ooh. Literally, we did nothing for 14 moves. And he could not find a breakthrough, because you can't play f5, guys. You can't play g4. None of the breakthroughs work. And he got frustrated and he took my knight. And I was like, if I play this correctly, this is a complete draw now. cd4, because if I play rook d4, by the way, rook a7, and there's nothing. Bishop d4, cd4, king d3, and now I don't plant my bishop on c5. I plant it on b4 because c5 allows him to try to get a plan of b4. Bishop d4, cd4, king d3, bishop b4, rook a1, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play my bishop on c3, and now good luck. But then I saw, oh, I completely missed the idea. His idea was never to really to play on the king side after he took my knight. It was to rotate around, and yeah, now f5 is the plan. Rook e7. I want to stop f5 because if he plays f5, then I take e5 is weak, right? And we can go through this whole rabbit hole actually. With this, I did actually vaguely calculate this, but I was like, eh, I don't think this is much. Even though he's up a pawn, actually he's not even up a pawn now. If I play rook g7, this is just gonna be a draw. He cannot do anything because his h pawn. I mean, it might help him in the long run, but it's gonna be probably fixed on the slide square. So it was probably gonna be fixed on the light square anyway. King f8. Why did I play king f8? Because if f5 takes, rook e5 is check. Very important. Otherwise, I wouldn't move in front of a whole pin, right? Rook g1, king g7, g4. Ooh, g4. He's trying to... He is really trying to... Sorry, guys. This is my mouse. It keeps disconnecting. Even though it's literally connected right now. I don't know. If someone knows how to fix that, tell me. And hg4, rook g4. Let me give you guys a move update. We're on move 70. You guys have watched 70 moves in this game. And, yeah, we're not even close to done. King a7, rook g5. And now we both have 2 minutes left on our clock. Actually, he probably has more. He probably has like 4 or 5 minutes. But he really started to tank. And I told you guys, he really started to tank. Because while, while this whole thing was happening, he was burning time trying to find a plan, and all I did was like, yeah, come and get me. And he was like, nah. So he played h5, takes, king g7, rook g5, king f8, and now he's starting to think, right? He's using his remaining time. And basically what happened during this game was that we were the last board. We were the last board in the position. So basically what happened, or in the tournament, literally the last board out of probably 200 plus people playing. So what happened was that in this tournament, there are like 5 arbiters. After the first day, I saw arbiters literally every place in the venue. So all the 5 arbiters came around my board and just started watching from different angles. There's a guy there. There was a guy there. There was a guy like right next to me. There was another guy like all the way back watching, and I could see him from my peripheral vision. So I was like, dude, I got 5 arbiters watching me, and I have to defend this position. And it's been like 5 hours. I am literally playing a game for 5 hours, and if I lose this game, I will be so like crushed. And he puts F5. He's like, I cannot take this anymore. I have to make a breakthrough. And I was like, rook f5. And I played the wrong move here. Apparently I have to like, do something like this. And I played rook e7, e6. And I played king g7. And Mr. James is winning. For the first time in 77 moves, he has a completely winning position. After 5 hours of playing, he is winning. He's gonna win. Because there's just EF7. There's just EF7. And I don't have a plan. Because if I play king f8, bye-bye. Rook g5, discards that, discards that. I can't do anything. Rook g8, f8 queen, GG. And I was like, what if I play rook e4? King d1, yeah, nothing. Nothing. Same idea. Same idea, and f8's coming too. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna lose a game after playing 77 moves. Chess is hard. So 5 arbiters, 5 arbiters, 5 hours of playing, 77 moves. I play king g7. I'm waiting. I'm waiting, hoping that he makes some kind of mistake. And he does. Rook takes f7 is not winning. He plays rook takes f7 after thinking for a few minutes. It's not winning. And I realized it in the game. I was like, he made a blunder. This is a draw. I'm down a pawn, and I could potentially be down more pawns, and this is a draw. Opposite colored bishops, and what he did is that he tried to move into my position. But he can't. King f8, king d5. And here, I have one plan. One, like, 3 set of moves. If I do not find it, I'm gonna lose a game that I have played 85 moves for. And this game was 90 moves. So I finally revealed how many moves it was. I have one plan. One plan. I have to trade this pawn for this pawn, put the bishop on this diagonal, and get the king back to f8. One plan, and I have to execute that in 3 moves. And find it. Bishop b4, king b7, d3! If he takes king e6, and now my bishop, my hero bishop, is not going to do anything. My hero bishop is it's going to stop the pawn from doing anything. Bishop g6, and he missed it. He missed the d3 idea. That's why he thought he was winning with rook f7. And I picked king e7, king a7, bishop c5, king b7, king f8, and ladies and gentlemen, after 5.5 hours, basically at this point, 5.5 hours, my parents were like outside just waiting. It was like, whenever you want to come out, dude. It's like way too late. It's like 9:30 and this game started at 4. What are you doing? 5.5 hours of playing. 5 arbiters watching the last game of the whole tournament. I offer him a draw, and he takes it. I end this tournament with 3 out of 5. And this is probably going to be one of the most tiring games I've played. But I wouldn't be surprised if something tops this. But this is the longest chess game of my OTB career so far. Hopefully it gets longer, but also hopefully it doesn't get longer. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know. Let me know. I might make this like a worst game series as well. But that was, yeah, that basically was the longest chess game of my career. And if you guys have games that you want to send in, I'll be happy to look at it, make it into a YouTube video, and all that stuff. If you guys liked the video, comment that you liked it. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're close to 50 subs. I would love it if we got there. So until next time, this is Rampage and Rooks out. Subscribe if you haven't, and turn on the notification button. I'll see you guys soon. Rampage and Rooks out.